You are listening to the Echo Effect podcast, your source for creative perspectives and real life results from creators and entrepreneurs you may recognize. Join your host, Tez Haley, creative entrepreneur and director of Silent Echo Studios, on a journey to be introspective and realize your version of progress. Welcome to the Echo Effect. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tez Haley, host of the Echo Effect, which is presented by Silent Echo Studios. Oh my gosh, thank you again for joining us for another episode. We hope you enjoyed our very first episode, which delved a little bit deeper into me and who I am and my journey throughout life and what's been the turning points for me, and then even talking about different things that affected me going into my journey of my creativity and my entrepreneurship journey. And by no means am I, getting things right the first time around, obviously, because I'm human. We're all human, but just being able to learn from those as practice, and learning from those mistakes and learning from everything, to become a better human being, person that's kind and gentle, to be an empath and understand people's point of views, and being able to hold differing perspectives simultaneously, and not really pushing my own perspective or views onto other people, rather than just, living by example through what I believe for myself. So with that being said, today's topic is belief systems. You heard it right, belief systems. Now, what do I mean by belief systems, right? Right off the bat, obviously it sounds religious, and I'm not more so talking about religious points of views. I'm more so talking about things that you believe about yourself, things that you abide by, what's ingrained with your identity and who you are as a person, right? It's fascinating how, as we're growing up, from our childhood life to our teenage years to young adulthood, things that, just kind of pick up steam and that are kind of said throughout the family, even if it's jokes, right? Sometimes those things stick with us, right? Like, oh, oh, he's been fat. Oh, he's fat. Or, he's just weird. Or, he's this, he's that. And it kind of like, it gets ingrained in our a part of our identity without even us knowing it, without us even knowing it, right? And I mean, for me, there's been a lot of things that growing up through my childhood to my teenage years to young adulthood to adulthood, that I brought along with me, and I was always kind of like questioning myself and why I think the way I think. And you'll be surprised, not a lot of people even question themselves. They just go full steam ahead. And not saying that's a bad thing, right? Because if you're 100% sure about yourself and you're aware of yourself, and you like your mental space is in a good space, and you're a genuine, kind, decent person, then by all means go 110%, right? But if you're hurting people along the way, and you're not noticing it, and you're not aware, and you're not remorseful, or you don't even care to think about how your own actions affect people around you, then you've got to go back to the drawing board. Like, it's going to be detrimental to your future if you don't go back to the drawing board and really analyze what your belief systems are, and what things caused you to be the way, or what things caused you to be the way you acted in those instances. So, for example, I actually have it written on my whiteboard back here. Four different things that I kind of live by, and you know, it's almost in a sense one of those situations where which one came first, the chicken or the egg, right? And when it comes to just being able to be self accountable and not always worry about external things and always blame external people and circumstances and not really taking accountability for what I had in control. Um, I would believe that we are capable of choosing what our belief systems are. So telling yourself, instead of being like before a big day, whether it's work related or a huge project or a huge interview, for example, for me, like today was a huge moment for me, and I was going to last night I was prepping to shoot a documentary production set for St. Paul Neighborhood Network, and I had to get prepped, look up some past interviews that that Houston White has done. Shout out to Houston White, by the way. Thank you very much for allowing us in your space. But just instead of telling myself I'm nervous, I'm scared, even though my body physiologically felt that, I was telling my mind that I'm excited. You see what I did there? Like, we've got to tell ourselves, like even though our body kind of feels that funky way, you can rewire those moments to make it seem like, okay, this feeling is excitement. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be doing this. That way it doesn't push you away, and you don't fold in the eyes of anxiousness or fear in those moments. So a few things that I have written on the board. It's kind of jumbled up, but I actually, looking at it now, I order it differently than I have it up there. So I call it melt, MELT. Right? What does that mean? Right? So M stands for meditation. At least for me, I know meditation has allowed me to quiet my mind, because we all know that when our mind races and just thoughts just keep on popping up here and there, and it's like our mind just goes wild, and being able to control your mind and say, no, you're not going to think too much now, calm down, and going from 100 miles an hour to zero or getting close to it, right? And just being at peace, telling yourself, I'm where I need to be. I am happy where I am at. Just and putting in your headphones and listening to some kind of like nature sounds, and that's what I've been doing for quite some time. And it started off kind of slow early on, but I want to say just within 2020 I've been doing a lot more meditation, and it helps for me, at least for me, to do meditation early in the morning right before I actually get up out of bed, and meditation again at night to wind things down, um, and have a good peaceful night's rest. So M is for meditation. E is for exercise. Now this, I'm not gonna lie, even though it's written up there, it's something that I still need to continuously work on, for myself right now. Not gonna make any excuses. I haven't been doing as good of a job as I should, but I'm going to hold myself accountable and not feel sorry for myself. Because once we get into that rhythm and cycle of, I missed one day, I missed another day, and then you just snowball and it keeps on going down that path. But you got to be able to balance things in your mind, and not necessarily make excuses for yourself, but if it makes sense to do those things, and even if it's 5-10 minutes, it's okay. What does what, like, set achievable goals for yourself that you can actually make, That way it creates this momentum that you can do. So technically today, even though I didn't physically exercise, like, oh, lifting weights, oh, pumping iron or something like that, right? I actually carried a bunch of heavy bags for the production set, went, loaded it up, unloaded it, loaded it back up, unloaded it. And like, I mean, that right there in it of itself is exercise in a sense, because carrying heavy weight, heavy bags, walking around. So like I did a decent amount of exercise. Granted, do I want to do more? Yes. Does allow me to do it? At times, no, because of the stressful nature. Well, not stressful, but just the ability to manage time effectively, I should say, hasn't allowed that. But I will be pushing more into that for myself. Um, and so E is for exercise. L is for learning. Now, what I like to say is what, and I've heard this on other podcasts as well, and even other big names from Tom Bilyeu and Gary V. I listen to those guys on a regular basis, and one of the biggest things that I constantly hear throughout the content is the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be is through action. And for me, one of those actions is learning. Like if you don't know something enough, or you feel like you're doubtful about something that, or your ability, well, what's better than to dive deep into a training course and get brushed up on it, or or going even the route of pulling out the camera, setting it up. It doesn't really matter how it looks as long as the message gets across, like what I'm doing right now. Like it's not going to be perfect, guys. Like the idea of perfection, throw that out the window. It's about practicing it and just doing it and putting it out, that becomes over progress. It becomes progress over time. So learning. So me, I'm not gonna lie, I was never a person that would read books like that in the past. I really didn't like school as much. But one thing that I always have known about myself is that if it's something that I'm really passionate about, like my creativity, excuse me, I just burped up some plant-based tacos. They were good. Um, so apologies. Woo! I need some water. All right. So going back to the topic about learning, it's like if it's something that I'm really passionate about, I'm willing to put the time in to learn. Like most recently, like my one of my really good friends, producer, freaking dope artist. He goes by the name of Zaro Vega. Shout out to my boy Zaro. He actually lent me a license to Ableton, and in the past, I actually, I was the one who hooked him up with Ableton early on in his career, with just making beats and learning and all that. And he was kind enough to turn around and let me have a license to the newer version. And once he gave that to me, it was over. I went straight to lynda.com, guys. And just to let you know, for everybody that's local in the Minnesota area, I don't want to hear anything about not being able to have access to learning. Like it's one thing, okay, education, schooling is one thing that comes with cost, money, obviously, right? But if it's some kind of skill or trade or something technological that you want to learn, literally the library has access to lynda.com, guys. All you need is a library card, virtual library card at that. And bam, you get into Lynda, you have access to all different types of trainings. And then after you're done with those trainings, you get an actual certificate showing that you completed it. So what have I been doing? Ableton. Hey, Ableton. Ableton Essentials. Went through the whole 19-hour training course on double time, listening with my headphones on, paying attention, pausing and rewinding on things that I actually didn't understand and going slower on them. And then the rest of the parts where I already understood it, I just kind of like, let it pass by. So the ability to learn and learn quickly and retain that information is a huge thing. And then from there on, literally, what you do with that knowledge and information, now you have to turn that into actual action. And I've been able to actually turn around and create some beautiful music off of there, and I hope to do more of that in the coming weeks and months here with music. So learning, guys, learning is essential. It doesn't have to be educational, school related. Literally, it could be lynda.com, it could be YouTube, it could be, I mean, you got to be careful though. Don't fall for those, online guru, whatever this, where, whatever that. Like, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. I mean, ultimately, it's your decision. But find somebody that you value and trust, that's doing what you're already doing, and just literally research on them, learn their techniques. You necessarily don't have to be like shadowing them directly face to face behind their every move, but you can pick up on trails and crumbs on the internet and you know learn from how they do what they do and incorporate it in your own style, with what you got going on. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually flattery when people do that. So yeah, that's learning for me. It's been a huge staple, and I hate to say this, even more than exercise, as of late. But it's opened my eyes and my mind to more possibilities and ways that I can incorporate this into my everyday life. Because learning isn't just about trades or making money or business. It's about life. Like, you learn from things, and if you don't learn from your failures, I mean, you learn more from your failures than you do your successes. But in the time of conflict, your true character actually shows up more. So learn, guys, learn. And last but not least, thankfulness. T. That's the T. Thankfulness. I like to incorporate this a lot with myself and everything around me, and just being thankful and having gratitude to not just the result of how things played out, but just the process of everything. Um, and it's it's where am I going with this? It's fascinating how just being thankful, just even for the little things, like what we take for granted, guys, like being able to wake up and breathe. You're alive. Be thankful for that. Like, things could be worse. We always put too much stress on ourselves overall, to do things, to achieve things. And I do this to myself as well. And I catch myself at times where it's like I put myself in overdrive and like think too much and worry about things that I can't control outside of myself. Um, and when you do that, it's like you're constricting yourself and causing pain to yourself that's unnecessary. So you got to be in that thankful mindset of, you know, somebody did something for you, say thank you. There's no shame in thanking somebody for things that they've done for you, or even if they did something bad to you. Like, I mean, things are going to happen. Like, stuff's going to go wrong. Like, be thankful for those experiences, and just try to be as balanced as you can, and learn from those those situations, and maneuver maneuver differently going forward. um so yeah, thankfulness is a huge thing. And you know we forget to look or like pop our heads up and stop worrying about ourselves for just a moment and look around and see who's around you and just like really appreciate them. Uh like for example, like this past Christmas, I didn't have much to actually physically give as gifts, but one thing that I know that I was able to do was, get small gifts that, had some sentimental value, but add a personalized letter for these people that I hold dear, and writing a message that's specifically for them and not this cookie cutter, let me buy a card and just sign it. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but when you say the thought that counts, it's literally the thought of what you're thinking, what you're writing, and what you want to tell that person. Because you'll be surprised, the words that we speak, we think it doesn't have power. It has power, guys. It has so much power that it can stop somebody from committing suicide. Let's be honest. Like, and then it could have such a detrimental effect on somebody that it could cause them to take their life. So the words that we speak into the world, into the universe, how we address people, how we interact with people, how we communicate with people, how we understand people, how we empathize with people. That's exactly it. It's words, it's communication. So and being thankful to those around you tie all back into how, your mindset is. So belief systems, my guys, is such a huge thing. And what you believe about yourself and how you see yourself, how you view yourself, can be either freedom or constricting. What side are you on? I'll take it back. Like whew, I'm gonna go a little bit deep here. So for New Year's, I my childhood best friend, um, Raji, who's also my business partner for the cleaning service, Eads Cleaning Services. We uh we hung out for New Year's Eve, and then obviously to New Year's, and we had a quiet, chill, relaxing night. We watched Soul, and after that, he went to sleep. But me, I ended up staying up a little bit later, and you know, I I I had this moment with myself that I wasn't able to have. Like it's been a long time coming. I've never gotten to this place with myself and how I view myself until that moment. So I literally went into the bathroom, and I actually made a post about this on Facebook as well. I went into the bathroom, used the bathroom like normal, and for the first time, I just I stared at myself in the mirror, and and I'm not talking about like, oh, let me yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, ooh. No. I'm not talking about like trying to flex or, look good for somebody else or going out or nothing like that, which nothing's wrong with that, but I'm talking about some real deep self-reflection type shit, right? I looked at myself. I stared at myself for about 30 to 45 minutes. Looked deep into my own eyes, saw all my facial features, and for the first time through that time that I was analyzing myself, I I had some powerful moments where I saw my grandfather, my great grandfather, I saw my ancestors in me. And like the way my face is shaped, like it can look like I'm mad if I'm not smiling. But when I crack a little smirk and I smile, it felt like the light was just opening up. Like And what I saw in that was I saw a warrior, I saw a protector, I saw a leader, I saw an empath, I saw somebody that that can listen and take in what people are saying and communicate. Um, I saw so many of those things in myself, and I realized that I, even before that moment, I haven't really fully accepted myself, like more so physically, with all my features on my face, because I've always been, you know, self-conscious about my body and everything like that. From the nose bridge, because I mean, like, not a lot of people have this, and from my family, they tell me in Ethiopian culture, this bridge means you're beautiful. They're like, you're beautiful, okay? You're you're beautiful. This is everybody would kill for this. That's my accent of my mom and dad combined. But they would tell me that, and you know, growing up most of my life in this American culture, and trying to like pick and choose where my um what I want to take for myself from both sides and kind of combine it, I've lost a little bit of my own self, in a sense of like not accepting all of myself and my flaws. So this was one of the things right here. I don't know, like my hair, obviously, like went bald, I think literally at 22, 23, which was a difficult phase for me. Um, growing out my beard, growing this out, like, like going through like through so many different ugly phases to get to this point, and noticing that it's like, it's okay. It's okay. That's who you are. That's how you are. That's how you look. Embrace that shit. Embrace it. So after that, I'm like, hey, this is me, yo. This is me. Can't nobody tell me nothing different. This is how I look. And guess what? I'm rocking it. I'm rocking it. Because guess what? I'm not about to go change different features about my face and get plastic surgery, this and that. Like, to be honest though, I actually did go to Bosley Hair Club for Men, one of them, right? Just to see what they could do, and like whatever with my hair. And because, like, I ain't gonna lie, hair was definitely part of my identity. My hair, bruh, back in high school, people used to be like, oh my gosh, Tiz. That's my Texas accent. Oh my gosh, hey Tiz, your hair is so beautiful. Can I touch it? Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It's so soft. What you mix with? And I love my Texas people, man. Shout out to all my Texas people, LP, East Texas, what's going on? Lufkin, stand up. I love all y'all down there. But I ain't gonna lie, it crushed me whenever I lost my hair. And let me take you back to the story of going in to Hair Club for Men. So they did all these crazy images, blah blah blah, and they came back and showed me the images, and I was like, okay, yep. You know me, I'm always I'm like, get to the numbers, like, because that's what matters the most, right? Um, and she pulled out different options, and she was like, all right, for something that is just going to be temporary, that you can take off and put on and then glue, whatever, it'll be this much. In my head, I'm like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it permanent. I ain't about to be out here peeling my head off at night. Like, nah. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Like, my guys out there that are doing that look fresh as hell. Shots to you. So and then I saw the other option, which was the permanent solution. Bruh, the number. Oh boy. Good thing I did that, because that was the catalyst for me to, you know, go back and really just take the idea that the hair was me. No, I made the hair. So with that being said, the number itself was like it was a fully loaded Toyota Corolla, and that's not a plug. But if hey Toyota, if you trying to holla at your boy, psych. Nah, holla at me down later on down the road because I don't want to put any ads or anything like that into this content that I'm putting out because it's very personal to me. And but it was upwards of like 20 to $25,000, yo. And I was like, I looked at that, my jaw dropped, and I walked out of there. I'm like, yeah, bye bye hair, deuce. So I left. I ended up leaving. I said, screw this, man. I am not about to pay that much for my confidence. Why would we do that? It's because we feel it's because we feel less than, or we feel, self, what's the terminology I'm looking for here? My head's kind of like all over the place. Because our self-esteem isn't where it needs to be. So it was part of confidence for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm shaving my head. Bam, shaved my head. I began just looking at, one thing that kind of helped. I ended up looking at different. Um, I've seen some guys that bald head are some good looking guys, man. Like they handsome. So I started looking at them and being like, all right, let me see who would I really look like, blah 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 blah. And I was like, Morris Chestnut, that boy got a bald head and is looking good. All right, cool. Boris Kojo, I see you. All right, next. So many different people. So I was like, I started getting comfortable with the idea of a bald head, and so I did it, and it eventually became, you know, I became a little bit more confident and accepted the fact that I wasn't gonna have hair no more. Um, but I went ahead and grown my beard out, so that kind of offsets it. And this is actually the first time I actually grew out my beard, and I've kept it ever since. The mustache handlebars came in a little bit later afterwards, but nonetheless, like, um, it's it's time to wrap this up. For me, again, your belief systems, you can choose what your belief systems are. It may, if you don't have a solid foundation of your belief systems, or something about your life isn't connecting right, or it feels like you're stuck, then, I'm not gonna lie, I myself I went to therapy, not back to therapy because that was my first time, but I went to therapy and it helped me gain some insights about myself that's been locked away for a while, and finally connected the dots. And then now I'm able to move forward a little bit better and pick and choose things and know what my triggers are and be aware of them. But having a solid belief systems about yourself will definitely get you a little bit further in life. And the next episode, we're actually going to be talking about something that ties into your belief systems, because that's the first foundation, to, the rest of this. So it's belief systems, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your results, and then your results and how they tie back into solidifying your belief systems. So our next episode, we're pretty much, or our next phase of this topic of life, since life is the first topic on the podcast. Life, business, and creativity, or sorry, life, creativity, and business are the three pillars of this podcast. So, guys, I definitely appreciate you paying attention. Man, spread the echo. If you guys are enjoying this content, please do rate and review us, on whatever platform you're listening. Share it to your friends and family. It's time for all of us to be a little bit more introspective about ourselves, and know that it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. Like, there's nothing wrong with showing yourself to people, because the more authentic you are, the more inspiration you're giving to other people around you, or other people that are listening, to really find their way as well. And nobody has anything figured out. Like, let's be honest, when you look at somebody else, you think there's further along in life than you are. They're still figuring things out as they're going. It's okay. So it's okay to stumble. It's okay to be human, and just live authentically, unique to you, and not compare yourself to other people. And with that being said, man, uh, thank you guys for paying attention and listening. Make sure to share. Um, and as always, guys, always remember to capture the moment. Peace. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Thank you so much for listening. And if this content brings value to you, please rate and review us. That really helps us grow this community, which is what we're hyper focused on. Thank you again so much. And until next time, my friends, remember to always capture the moment.